Here in this video, I'll be continuing a 10-part series tutorial for beginners that are new to Final Cut Pro 10. Now, even if you're an advanced or expert user, it's worth watching these videos and maybe getting involved in the comment section, as there will be things that I will be discussing that will help even those advanced users on Final Cut Pro. So without further ado, let's get into the video. This is part 2 of the 10-part series of the Final Cut Pro X tutorial. Okay, so here we are, and I've already loaded up and launched Final Cut Pro 10. Now, for those of you who are looking for how to begin your project and what settings to go through and what to do when launching the application, you might want to have a look at part 1, as we won't be getting into this here in this video. For the purpose of this video, which is part 2 of a 10-part series that I'm doing here on my channel, this video is about importing and learning how to import your media and different types of media to Final Cut Pro. Now, I've already got the application at full screen. For those of you who have watched part 1, you already know how to launch this application into a full screen setting. But for those of you who might have missed that, we're going to go through that again, because we will be doing this quite a few times here in this part 2 of our tutorial. So if you scroll up to the top of the application here, you will see a red X and a green enlargement icon. If you click the enlargement icon, while we're enlarged, it will actually make it smaller. For the purpose of this video, at the moment, we're going to keep this enlarged. You can only minimize the application when it's in windowed mode. So what you want to do once you've launched your application and you've started a project is you want to go up to the tabs and you want to go to the file tab. Once you're here, you want to scroll down past open library, close library, library properties, and go into import. And then you have your options of importing captions, which is something that we can go into if that's something that you would all like to learn about. Captions are very useful for subtitles and so forth, and you can actually purchase a caption service online. There are various different places. XML, which we're not going to get into as well here in this tutorial, iPhone iMovie iOS project, as well as your media. Now, these three are very interesting. If you would like a tutorial of how to import captions, XML, or an iMovie project, then I can do this for you also. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're actually just going to import various different types of media. So I want you to click on media. This will open up a window of different places and locations on your device. Now, I've already placed my media in a specific place on my MacBook so that I can find my media for this tutorial. But for yourself, you may not have already done this, which will require you to conduct a search. Now, I'm going to go into my desktop here, and you can open up the desktop by clicking the drop down menu here, and this shows you what is within the desktop folder. You can also do this the same for your documents, your downloads, iCloud if you're using iCloud, and so on. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I've already placed our media on the desktop, so I'm going to click the drop down menu here, and I'm going to go find the folder that I've already created called Let's Import. Now, there are various different ways you can actually import this media. As you can see, there is a lot of information at the side here where it's showing you different search terms, a copy to library, or leave the files in the place. I'm not going to get into that for this tutorial. What I'm going to have you have a look at is the optimized media and the proxy media. For the purpose of this tutorial, I have unchecked optimized media and proxy media. Checking the optimize media creation icon here will actually create a second version of the media clip or audio you import, and it will be optimized, ready for editing in your project. In a nutshell, it converts your media into a codex that is easier to edit in Final Cut. The optimized media format codex that actually is created is a ProRes 422 codex format. Now that isn't going to make any sense to a beginner of your level if you're a beginner editor here on Final Cut. And most likely you will be creating smaller micro media content. And that icon, I wouldn't check if that is the case. If you are creating a large project and your media files are quite big, it probably would be worth clicking the optimize media icon, as this will help you during the rendering process of your media within your project. Creating proxy media will allow you to edit with a low quality version of your media file, which will also help you when rendering your clips within inside a project, and will save you time, especially if you're doing a small project. The purpose behind optimized media and proxy media is to speed up the rendering process within your project. Because we're doing such a small example here, I'm going to uncheck both of these, as both of these media files can still take up a lot of space on your Mac device. So our media files are displayed here. You can see when the content was created, and you can also see the file type of the media. Now I've purposely given more than one different file type to work with. You've got an MP3 audio, a PNG image, QuickTime movie, a waveform audio, and a JPEG image. Images can also be imported to Final Cut. You don't have to use video files to edit a project together. You can simply use pictures. And I'm going to show you what this looks like once you've imported. Now both of the picture images that I've given are different formats and are also different sizes. Let me show you what I mean. So right now I'm going to click on the PNG image here, which is actually my display picture. It's actually given me the option to have a look at this, play it if it's a media file, and see what the preview of the image is. Once you've highlighted this, you can then, with the same settings that we've just spoken about, click Import Selected. Now this hasn't been imported directly to our timeline, it's been given as the project files in our section here, and will populate with the project once you've imported enough media. To actually move this into your project, it's quite easy. You just left click, holding on the icon. Then you can actually, if it was a video file, you could select a section of the video file by clicking on the edge of this yellow icon, this yellow square that's given, and stretching and moving this back and forth. In the terms of a picture, this won't make a difference, and it would just basically make the media file smaller or bigger. So I'm going to drag this into our timeline. As you can see, because of the shape of the picture, it hasn't fully given us a 1280 720 image, and that has left us with these tacky black bars at the side of our image. The reason why this film strip is actually at the side is because we're at the first frame of the project, and the same happens when you're at the end of your project. For example, let's play that. There we go. It stopped at the end of the project, and the right side of the screen, this is indicating to you that you are at the end of your project edit in your timeline. You're at the end of the timeline that you've created. Now, to see what format your project is in, and so that you can formulate an idea of the resolution of the canvas, if you go up to where your projects are here and you click, you can now see the resolution and frames per second that you have created for your project. So let's move on and let's import multiple media sources at one time. So we go back up to File, we go down to Import, and we go to Media. We go back to the file that should still be open. So we haven't actually clicked on this to close anything. We can just scroll down to what we need. And right now I'm going to import multiple things at one time. The way that you would do this is you would click on one source of media, and then you would hold Shift to click on the next piece of media, and that will allow you to import multiple at one time. But as you've noticed, this is not giving you a preview, as you have selected more than one piece of media. It is simply giving you the first preview of the first thing that you selected once you clicked Shift and click. Now go ahead and import. Now we have successfully imported an audio WAV file, which is copyright free, may I add, as well as this YouTube image here. Now images work the same. You can simply just click and drag. That will be added to your timeline. But your audio will be completely different. So once you've clicked on your audio, you will see that this red line play bar appears. If you press spacebar while that red line is appearing on your audio, you can actually sample and you can actually see that the audio is being played here. I can hear this, and you may be able to hear this due to my microphone now picking up the audio. I'm going to stop pressing that now. Let's say you want to use only the intro to the music. What you would do is you would select the edge again and you would drag into what you want to import. Click on the square, yellow square that you have selected and drag that into the timeline. As you can see, that has now been successfully imported to the timeline. Due to Apple editing being so convenient, there is an easier way to import your media if you are not concerned with what type of media is being rendered within your project. In window mode, you simply just move your window until you can see what you need. In my case, the Let's Import folder is right here. Find what you need. In our case, it is a YouTube QuickTime video here, which is completely copyright free. I'm going to drag this from the folder directly into my project. Once you've done, you can simply just enlarge your project yet again, and let's have a look at what we've got. So we have an image that we have imported here. We have imported a waveform audio, which is our music for the project. We've also imported a completely different image, and we have also imported a video. It's also valid to mention that once you have set the parameters of importing, let's go back to what our parameters were set at. So if we go to import and we go to media, what I mean by the parameters is the settings alongside here. Once we have set these for our project, depending on what this was set at last, will actually determine how a drag and drop media file will be imported to a project. So if I click off this with the same settings, and then I do the drag and drop method of windowing our Final Cut Pro application, finding a media source that we want to use. In this case, we're going to use this audio MP3 file here called Club, and dragging this into the project. This media source will now be at the same setting as what we have given the parameters for when importing last. So there will be no optimize or proxy media created for this media file based on our last settings given. You can also move this along the timeline accordingly. But as we have not used our previous method of importing, we have not selected a section of this media source. We have selected the entire media source because we used the drag and drop method. Okay guys, so that concludes our importing part of our 10-part tutorial today. Hopefully this has been of some value to you and you've found and learned something here in this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button because I have more Final Cut Pro 10 tutorials coming to this channel. I also would like to learn more about what you would like to know and what you would like to learn about Final Cut Pro and what would be helpful to you. So if there is something that you've seen here in this video and you would like to learn more about that specific attribute or skill, please do not hesitate to contact me down in the comment section below, and I will make sure that I cater this tutorial, this beginner's tutorial here on my channel for you. I really hope this has been helpful to you, and thank you for watching. So before we leave, let's have a look at some of the bloopers and mistakes that I've made while recording this video. For those of you who are looking for the whole... Stop. Hello there everyone, well, is it even recording? Yeah, it is. So without further ado, let's show you my screen and let's get into... So without further ado, let's get into the... You want to go up to File. Oh, wait, before we go on. But in your... for multiple media... Stop.